So Ravens flock, the preseason is officially over. The Ravens finished their final game of the preseason against the Washington Commanders. It was a dominant win with the final score of 30-3. And there was a lot of positive things to take away from it as we get ready for our season opener in a couple of weeks against the Buffalo Bills. Mainly the main thing being that this defense looks dominant. They look sharp, they look well prepared, which I think is a credit to Zach Orr. Now, will this translate in the regular season? Will this be the same thing we see in the regular season? I don't know yet, but I'm hoping this is a good sign, of course. Uh, I'm hoping Zach Orr could have a similar trajectory to what we saw with Mike Macdonald because, like Mike Macdonald, I think Zach Orr struggled in the beginning, but Mike did eventually get into a groove, and then obviously we went on to have a historic defense in 2023. I'm not saying Zach is going to be as good as Mike, but if he could even be 70% of what Mike Macdonald was, I think that would really be all we would need at that point, because I think there's an argument to be made that this defense is actually more talented than what we had in 2023. So I'm excited to see how things play out over the next couple of months. There's several guys on the defense that just played their hearts out this preseason. I was very excited to see it. Guys like Keon Martin, who in this game against the Commanders, he had a pick six. Guys like Jay Higgins, who stood out. You also had guys like Ruben Laurie. I think there's a chance that at least 2 out of these 3 guys make it. I don't know if all 3 of them are going to make the roster. I would like to see that, but only time is going to tell. There's only 53 spots. Then there's other guys who I'm not sure if they should stay on the team, or not even that they're bad, but just considering how tight the room is when it comes to the amount of available spots we have left. There's certain guys I kind of wonder if they're going to end up making the roster, but to stick to some positive things, I remember at a certain point in the game, David Ojabo stood out with a very big run stop on 4th down to get us the ball back. Then Trenton Simpson also balled out in this game. He batted a ball up in the air that ended up getting picked off by Jalen Armour-Davis, who also was playing very well. Then on top of that, if I'm not mistaken, Trenton Simpson also played a role in knocking the ball out for a fumble later in the game, which was very exciting. It was interesting that they still kept Trenton out there this late into the preseason. I assume that's because they still have questions about what they want to do at the weak side linebacker position. Do they have full trust and faith in Trenton Simpson? At this point, I would assume you do, because I'm not sure if any of the other guys, any of the rookies, balled out to the point where you know without a shadow of a doubt you could put them in front of Trenton Simpson. And again, Trenton Simpson looks solid. Now, will he look solid against starters? I don't know. We gonna see in a couple weeks. But him and Jalen Armour-Davis, they looked too good to be out there in the 3rd preseason game playing against guys who, in all likelihood, are probably going to get cut this year. Or not even, cut this month within a few days. As far as the offensive side of the ball, wasn't a whole lot to take away from it. Rasheen Ali and D'Ernest Johnson, they both look solid this year. However, I don't know if either one of them are making the roster. We have an extremely deep room of running backs. We don't even know how we're going to get Keaton Mitchell the ball. So I can't imagine a scenario where we're going to get Rasheen Ali or D'Ernest Johnson on the field at any point. I can't see that happening. With Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, I think we're set at the running back position. If anything, I trust the Ravens can go find at least one decent veteran who's like sitting on the street right now. I'm sure they could find somebody. So if they wanted to make an extra roster spot, I'm assuming guys like that would be the main guys they would be looking at cutting. But again, we'll see. Either one, not to say they play bad, but just they look solid, but they didn't look like people that you can't replace. We also saw that the offense experimented with different ways of getting LeJohntay West to the ball, which I was excited about. But that was pretty much it from the offensive side of the ball. There wasn't a whole lot to take away. Devin Leary's still trash, but there's not much you can really say about that. You kind of beating a dead horse at this point. I was excited to see Tyler Loop go out there and kick all these field goals with confidence. He hit that 52-yarder. He hit that 61-yarder. I think in the preseason as a whole, he might have only missed like one field goal. So we all know he has a leg strength, and it's nice to know that he also is more accurate than some of us were thinking he was going to be. Not to say he was inaccurate or we assumed he was inaccurate, but when you saw all those reports coming out during training camp saying that he was having a hard time and missing left and right, that definitely made a lot of Ravens fans a bit uneasy, but I think he's going to be fine. Like I've been saying, we just need him to be at a league average. We don't need him to come right out the gate and be just a Justin Tucker, but if he could just be league average as a kicker, I think we'll be just fine. Because you look at last year, for example, if Tucker was still playing at a league average at the very least, we should have won at least 2 or 3 more games. So I'm very excited to see Tyler Luke go out here and continue to build up his confidence and build up trust within the Ravens flock as we adjust to having a new field goal kicker. Let me know, was there anything else from this preseason game that really caught your attention? And are there any players that you really want to see make the 53-man roster? And are there any players that you really hope that get cut?